I really haven't a clue what it's going to take for the Irish people to wake up in this country and understand that the Irish government do not care about the Irish people anymore. The Irish people are not the priority of the Irish government anymore. The Irish government are now beholden to the EU and the UN and have been since 1955. They signed us up for programs in this country that they never asked the Irish people, were we willing to participate in these or not, and we're beholden to take these people in. I mean, we can understand the anger of the Irish people because our voices are not being heard. Our children are not safe. It's not safe to even go for a run in this country anymore. When Ireland was one of the safest country in Europe, and now it's up number three, I think, on the most dangerous list in Europe in countries. But that's because of what the Irish government have been allowed and enabled to happen in this country. But people need to understand that showing up in blind rage and anger is not the way to go about it either, because that's just going to give the establishment more authority to bring in more legislation to lock us all down and implement the smart cities a lot faster than they had originally planned. I mean, I understand the anger in this country because it's costing the Irish taxpayer 2.75 million a day to house these iPass, over a billion a year to house these iPass people in our country. I mean, 90% of the buildings that are held, we've over 300 iPass centres in this country, and 90% of them are commercial properties, and the government uh, are paying for these, but it's coming from the taxpayer. Um, but people need to understand that these are all programs that the Irish government are beholden to from the EU and UN, that they've no choice in doing these things because they all agreed to it a couple of years ago. So people need to understand that having blind rage is not going to achieve anything at all in this country. What we need to do is we need to shut this country down. It's the only way the Irish government is going to listen to us, and then we'll get our voices heard. But because we seem to still go to work, we still go to GA matches, we still go to bring our children to school, we still tap with our card. It's all compliance. It's all seen as compliance, and we're complying to it absolutely all. Now, I understand people are afraid to shut the country down because they think they're going to lose their job or they're not going to be able to pay for their mortgage. Um, and they have all these fears, which are rightly so to have them fears. But what people don't understand is if you go into your job and you discuss it with everybody, it'll only take one person to say, this is what we're going to do, and the rest will follow, because that's how it works. That's how it works. And then if we all organize, it just takes a bit of organization to shut the country down, but it can be achieved. Because there's nobody in this country that isn't struggling right now. We've 1 in 3 households who are living in poverty. Our elderly are really struggling. They have to choose between electricity and food or heating in this country, which is absolutely ridiculous considering these are the people who worked all their lives, paid taxes in this country, and now there's no support for them. I mean, we have 16,000 Irish homeless people in this country that the government won't do anything for, but yet last year alone, there was 13,849 Ukrainians given council houses and homes through the Red Cross Association, because it's all NGOs. And these NGOs are there to benefit the people coming into our country. They're not there to benefit the Irish, because the government is not beholden to the Irish people. We're seen as citizens in this country right now, and a citizen is not a resident. There's two different, very different terms and words. And it's, if you notice, these people coming into our country, they're given residency, and that's why they're obliged to be given houses, because it's all legal. Everything that's happening in our country right now is legal, and it's not going to stop. And if we keep coming out with blind rage and attacking the guards, and then the guards coming back and attacking us like the little scumbags that they are in their power, in their force, because that's all they know to do. They're doing their job, but they're not there. They're not there to protect and serve the people anymore. They're there to protect and serve the establishment, and they know this as well. And this is why they can come out in their power and attack the people, because it's what they're paid to do, and they get overtime for this as well. The only way we're going to get our voices heard in this country is when we shut it down. We shut the country down. We don't go to work. We don't bring our children to school, and we show up outside the doll, and we demand our voices heard, and we demand to leave the EU and leave the UN. Now, legally, we are obliged to some of these programs, but if we stood firm on this, we could actually get the programs. We could take our the participation out of these programs and take our country back. But it involves people coming together all as one, because right now you've got your left and your right, and then you've got the middle Ireland who are just standing back and looking. But the middle Ireland are the ones struggling, because you're all the ones going to work, paying for all these extra taxes, your local property taxes, your vacant property, which is the government are coming with their compulsive purchase orders now to take these empty houses off people so they can place the people that have coming into our country into these homes. Everything is legal and everything is organized by these little vermin. And the only way we're going to stop it is if we actually get people to come together and shut the country down, because nothing else is going to work. We can't keep protesting on empty streets and thinking it's going to make a difference. We can't keep coming out with our flags and thinking it's going to make a difference. Instead, it just creates the divide even more. And division is what they create, the establishment crave on. They crave on the fact that we're all fighting with each other. They crave on the Muslims and the Christians fighting with each other. They'd be terrified if the Muslims and Christians came together in this country to shut this all down. They would not be able to handle a complete mass non-compliance where everything gets shut down and blocked, because all they care about in this country is revenue and data. They don't care about human life. That's clear as day to be seen. They don't care about human life. I mean, look at last year alone, the schools, for instance, just to show how much we're second class citizens in our own country. We're not residents anymore. There was 126 children with special educational needs without a school place last year. There was 700 children in care left without a school place, but yet there was 800 and 185 Ukrainians were given school places over these children, because that's the government's priority. Now we have to go to our government and demand that we become the priority again, because that's what we pay them to do. The taxpayer pays the government's wages, but it's never going to change until we all come together and stand as one people. We don't need leaders in this movement. We just need to all come out together and say no, enough is enough. No, no more are we doing anymore. Um, I'm at a loss with the people in this country, because they're working off emotion right now, and that's what the establishment want us to do, to work off emotion. Like that terrible, horrific story with the 10-year-old girl. They purely done that to enrage the people, because they knew they wanted to change the narrative, to spin the narrative from a 10-year-old being sexually assaulted to the far right going crazy. And that's exactly what's happened now. That's exactly what they've done. The establishment got what they wanted, because people are working off emotion instead of using their logic and common sense. There would have been a bit more. There would have been an awful more change would have happened if people had to come out with a candlelit vigil, sit outside that centre, and refuse to move until then men were taken out of that building for the safety of the other children. Because I know that works, because we've done it here in Newbridge before. When a paedophile was moved into our area, we all stood outside the house and demanded he was taken out of our estate until. And then the guards came and removed it, because we were not going to move. We stood firm together and said, no, he is not coming into our estate where our children live. And it works. Peaceful works. I know people are saying, oh no, it doesn't. It's time. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. But it's not enough. We genuinely haven't seen anything yet. Like, the government have been given 169 million for the Just Transition Fund to change our country even more to EU and UN standards for their sustainable developmental goals. People just don't understand how deep this goes and how much it's organized, how organized it is from these parasites, because they've been years planning it and to bring us to where we are today. But it's our compliance that's absolutely enabling it all. People who claim to be against this still go to the GA matches, still tap with their card, still give everyone their data. We need to come off these social apps. We need to organise ourselves in our own communities, and really think about shutting this country down, because nothing else is going to work.